Well, good day and welcome to you. It is January the 17th. I hope you're having a wonderful day wherever you happen to be. My name is Gary Willing, and I want to welcome you to Search for Signs. And I always like to point out for those people who are totally new, I get people who hear this information for the first time in every one of these videos, so it's better for me just to take a second and kind of tell you. I've included some links in the descriptions of these videos for you to educate yourself better about this information, learn more about it, see if there's any truth to it, and then I think after that you can make an honest decision how to proceed for yourself. If you see that there's some truth to this information, ask yourself what you can do to help the world, based on knowing this information. If you investigate this for yourself and you see there's no truth to it, well, hopefully you'll ask yourself what you can do to help the world. But even then, it's up to each and every one of us to decide that for ourselves. But you might think that there's nothing for you to do. And that's up to you. That's your right. So I have complete faith that you'll be able to make up your own mind. That's why I give you those links to look at for you to check out for yourself, investigate for yourself. Now, if you want to know which link I think would be the best link to start off with, I always recommend the Share National link because you can get more information there in one spot than you can anywhere else. Now, if you have checked out these links before, you might notice a couple new ones at the bottom, and hopefully you'll find them helpful and useful and informative. So anyway, thank you for that. Now, I do have a couple comments actually to cover from the same person. And we'll focus on this, and I promised this person that I would talk about it in the next video, and I'll do my best. I'm not saying it's going to be the best way of addressing these comments, but I'll give it a good college try. This person commented about a video I put up some years ago entitled, "Who is Maitreya?" And this person wrote in the first comment, "A genuine manifestation would not know their own true nature lest they act inauthentically." Now, I wrote back to this person, and I'll kind of just briefly tell you what I said, is Shakespeare once wrote, "To thine own self be true." And that applies to not only every one of us, but also to these masters. Each one of these masters know, without a doubt, that they are divine. They live according to that. They actually live within the law of harmlessness, actually, because they know that to be true. They don't infringe on anybody's free will. They don't harm anybody. And when they speak only in love. They don't speak in criticism. They don't speak to harm someone else in the way that we all do on a daily basis for some of us, right? Now, they know that they know who they are. The problem is that we don't know who we are. We think we're perhaps just the brain, or we might get a soul when we die, or we might believe ourselves to be a Christian or a Muslim or Jewish or American or French, when actually those are all just illusions. We are all souls. These masters know that truth, that we are not only souls, but we're not manifesting it perfectly yet. They are. Now, every one of these masters, whether they're living in isolation in the deserts or the mountain regions of the world, or they've actually taken a step toward approaching humanity, have actually entered a major city like New York or London, San Francisco, LA, Moscow, Rome, just to name it, Tokyo. They're living amongst humanity. They know who they are. They're not telling you who they are, right? So if you're walking down the street and you saw one of these masters, they might bless or send you love or something like this, but they're not going to tell you that they're one of these masters, right? They're just going to, so I can see where you're coming from, but I guess the distinction would be not necessarily they wouldn't know who they were. They'd be totally ignorant of who they are, but it's more of, would they be going around telling you who they are? And the answer is none of these masters do. Not even Maitreya. He's on TV, and he's only claiming to be an ordinary person. Now, when people have commented similarly about the masters, that they're probably maybe as a master who doesn't know who they are or something like this, I always kind of say it like this, is there are people in Hyde Park who walk around right now who think they're the Queen of England or the King of England. And of course, any person with common sense would go, "You're not the Queen of England." And they might sit there and argue with you. "Oh, no, I'm the Queen of England, and this is the reason why," and blah, 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 blah. But the whole time you would be looking at them going, "Wow, you got some serious mental issues," right? Now, there is a person living in Buckingham Palace named Queen Elizabeth who is the Queen of England. She has all the rights and responsibilities of being that queen. People look to her as that queen. When she speaks, they're listening to her as the queen. But she's not in Hyde Park going around telling people she's the Queen of England, now is she? Right? So it would be the same thing as Maitreya. Now, Maitreya would tell you, because he's been asked before by people in the Asian community of London, are you the Imam Mahdi? Because they were actually Muslims living amongst them. So they're waiting, their teacher that they're waiting for is the Imam Mahdi. And we would say, well, if I'm the Imam Mahdi for the Muslims, then what about the Christ for the Christians or the Messiah for the Jews? He says these names only cause confusion. They're only man-made terms, really. The Christ, Imam Mahdi, Kalki Avatar, the fifth Buddha, the Messiah, these are all man-made terms. And he said they only cause confusion. And what he's told the people before is just look to him as a teacher, because that's really all he is just a teacher. So, but he knows who he is, but he's not telling you who he is. In fact, the proof is the fact that he's been speaking on TV for 10 years and he's not even being introduced by the journalist as anything special. Now, he's doing that for several reasons. One is because you're right. If he was going around telling people this, it would be very inauthentic and people would look to him as he's crazy. But he also doesn't need your confirmation or my confirmation or anybody's confirmation to know who he is. He already knows who he is. Every one of these masters know. Now, the other comment that you said about assuming that they would be, why would they be male? What did you put it? How do you put it? I find it puzzling that the assumption is so readily that such a person would be male or that it would be a person at all. For an epic entitled The New Age, there is such a lot of old age thinking. Now, I'm going to talk about the male part of that after this second part. But the reason why these masters are in physical form in the way that they are, because there are masters, even in our solar system, that have no form, that are beyond time and space and form and everything. But it'd be kind of hard for them to communicate with us and us to them. You know what I'm saying? The reason why they're in physical form is for us. These masters have all chosen to stay here as a service to humanity. They're not bound by the earth the way that we are still bound to incarnate on this planet. They've already learned all the lessons that we're still learning. And they could be anywhere. Maitreya became a master millions of years ago. He could be anywhere in the cosmos, serving on any level, and not have any real personal interaction with humanity. He chose to do that out of the love that he has of humanity. But we need physical representations to help us. You know, when we start to see these masters and learn from them directly, our progress will be immense. How fast it will happen. How we will start to try to emulate them. We will start to manifest our own soul and our own soul's creativity far better, far easier, far more effectively, because we will have examples of what it means to be truly divine. And as the case with Maitreya, to actually not only be a manifestation of that divinity, but even to embody it. So when I refer to him as the Christ, I'm not referring to him as a religious deity and that he's something that Jesus is not. It's an esoteric term. These masters make up a small group of a spiritual kingdom above humanity, entitled the spiritual kingdom or the masters of wisdom or the hierarchy of masters or something like this. It's the kingdom above humanity, just like humanity is above the animal kingdom. The animal kingdom is above the vegetable kingdom. The vegetable kingdom is above the mineral kingdom. They are the kingdom directly above us. Every one of these masters, without exception, the reason that what makes them a master is not their master over us, but they are masters over their own spiritual nature, their own divinity. They've mastered what it means to be a soul in incarnation. We are still learning what they have already learned. Maitreya, and what makes him unique from even these other masters, is he literally embodies that spiritual nature. And that's what makes him esoterically the Christ. Just as the Buddha who worked through Gautama Buddha did the same thing. So we actually have two tremendous spiritual giants on our planet that embody that energy, not only spiritually manifest it. It's incredibly rare throughout cosmos, and we've had it twice on our planet. And there's a spiritual purpose for it. We don't really know about it yet, but eventually we will. But he knows who he is. He doesn't need, he's just like the Queen of England. He doesn't need to explain it to you. And he doesn't need you to believe that he is the Christ in order for him to feel like he's actually validated on who he is. That's why he doesn't go around saying who he is. So I can get where you're coming from, but I think it's more of a, is he really going around saying it or not? Now, the reason why people such as myself and Benjamin Creme and the group around Benjamin Creme are saying who we think he is to alert humanity to the truth that we are not alone, that we do have help, that they are here to help us steer away from the edge and so forth. But you don't have to believe what I believe. You know what I mean? It's not like I'm trying to get you to change your beliefs, right? Now, in terms of them being male, I'll try to finish it up by this. That is a concern that a lot of people have had over the years. Benjamin Creme tried to address it, and the only thing I can do really is just kind of repeat what he said. But the male body and the female body are like poles of an electric current. Okay, they have two different spiritual purposes. The male body it's easier for these masters if they take a male body to anchor their spiritual energy on this planet. If they were in female body at this time, they could still anchor that spiritual energy. It would just be more difficult for them to do, and they don't waste any energy or any time or anything. They're extremely efficient. So they don't, and so eventually, and it's only a temporary thing, eventually after a few hundred years, the master who was the Madonna will incarnate as the first female master. And then more and more masters will take female bodies, and then eventually be about 50-50 from what they said. Now, they're not doing it because of the old stereotype gender roles. That's not why they're doing it. And these masters know every one of their incarnations, so they already know that they've been male, female, probably 50% female, 50% male. They've lived in the East, in the West. They've been tall, short, ugly, beautiful. I mean, they've been all over the board, just like we've been all over the board. We don't know the truth that we've actually had other incarnations other than the one we're living in. Now, the gender roles of the past are fading away. They're still there, but if you go back 100 years, 150 years, we've made a tremendous amount of progress as a humanity. Still not perfect, but we've made a tremendous amount of progress in women's rights, in seeing women as equal. As men are not the stronger, better sex than, that kind of thing, and should tell women what to do. A lot of it also came from the distortions in the Bible and so forth, and people interpreting the Bible that's what they were trying to say and so forth. So same thing with civil rights and so forth with different races. Every one of these movements toward the truth that we are one, behind it is the impulse and the inspiration of the hierarchy of masters. And over the next just 2,000 years, if we could go 2,000 years into the future, what we would consider gender roles to be will be gone, because we will only be seeing each other as souls, because we will have these masters teaching us for the next 2,000 years and even beyond that. But over the next age of Aquarius, over this new age, more and more as time goes on, we will start to see ourselves as we really are, as souls, as one. That there is no difference between a man and a woman, truly. We are just incarnating in a different body. So, but it's going to take more time as time goes on. Same thing with different racial stereotypes and hang-ups and so forth. Those will all be gone by the end of this next age, because we will see ourselves as one. Maitreya will only be talking about oneness in whatever area he's talking about, whether it's politics, economics, the truth of our own spiritual nature. It's all about the one divinity that we all share, that we're all unique, that we're not conforming to something. We will still be the unique person that we are, the unique soul that we are, and that it's sacred. But yet we're all a part of a whole. So hopefully that answers it. I tried to, and I do thank you for your comment very much, and I hope you have a great day. Remember to take action and help SOP save our planet. Thanks for listening, and we look forward to talking to you again in future videos.